5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good day. How are you? It's me, I'm back. Yes, back again. Brad is back. Tell some friends. Please, I don't have any. I do really. You guys love me, don't you? I'm obviously using the wrong thing because I can't get me can never get me sizes right. There we go. I'm back. You can see me in most of my eternal glory. How have we all been? It's been a wild international break, hasn't it? I've never been excited by international breaks before because England go and beat everybody, and that was still the case. You could say they didn't concede a goal. It's quite impressive, but they were playing Azerbaijan's and Albania, so what did we expect? But Ireland, Wales and Scotland walk into a World Cup. No, it's not a joke. It actually happened. Ireland, Wales and Scotland they've got qualifiers to go through, but they are potentially on the verge of a World Cup. How weird is that? It's a long way. Obviously, Scotland are fully qualified after a terrific win against Denmark. But yeah, what a strange international break. I was actually excited to see things going on. But now proper football's back. Although, saying that, last time an international break rolled around, Leicester had won the game before an international break and didn't win up until the game before this international break. So, excited, nervous, dreading the points deduction. How are we feeling, guys? I hope you are all well in the world of Leicester. Just want to say quickly, good evening to Ronald and Blue Fox, because I've obviously been away for too long. I forgot to press that button so you could read their comments coming across the bottom. It is back. This is the preview show, and it is Leicester City versus Stoke City. I have the wonderful Dan, not the Burnley fan, but the Stoke City fan in the background. And I'm going to bring him in a minute. I can see he's a bit untoward at the moment. He's probably here taking Christmas presents off Santa's list for his children this way, the way things are going. He's shaking his head. We all know the truth, Dan. He's been a star to do it so late on in the evening. We're ready to get to bed. My Christmas is hopefully coming early. Not for anything rude. Get your head out of the gutter. I'm a cricket fan. The Ashes start at 2:20 or 2:30 in the morning. So I'll probably be in bed by 2:35 when England are 3 down for no run. But we're here to talk about football, aren't we? Now I've bored you into it, so let's get him in. Dan, the Stoke fan. Hello, my good friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you, mate. I'm looking to watching a bit of basketball myself later.
Oh, beautiful. Chris will be raging. He'll be like, no, I got the one football fan that likes football. They'll never shut up. Yeah, I can't wait to watch the highlights of 10 minutes of cricket and then turn it off. It's going to be brilliant, isn't it, down under?
Yeah, I did see like a little skit a few days ago, and it said like England fans with the Ashes, and someone was getting into bed and they put the radio on TMS, and it's like, oh, here we go, the first ball, and they fell asleep and woke up, and it was like a fantastic double 100, and they were like, wow. And they were like, yes, for Australia, Steve Smith, after bowling England out for 70 earlier on. I was like, oh, yeah, that's about right. That'll probably be it.
Sounds about right. I think I remember seeing that one, actually. But we are here to talk about football.
We
Something
are, though, aren't we? Yes.
absolutely as devastating as Ashes cricket. It is the prediction show. I mean, Stoke, you are currently flying high. It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's not Superman, but it's the trusty sidekick Robin. Well, it's
Yes.
Mark Robbins. I couldn't really put that in the superhero linguistics as it is. But Mark Robbins, we Leicester fans know him very well. He was a very great, good player for us in the mid 90s. Actually lifted a trophy with us, believe it or not. Well, it's Robbins to the rescue, wasn't it? Because when he took over, you weren't doing too great. But this season, is he showing Coventry fans? I mean, I know they're top with Lampard, but we all know what Lampard does, so we don't know what's going to happen. But are we seeing that it wasn't just a good squad at Coventry that made Mark Robbins look good? Because you didn't have a great season the season before. We'll talk about that in a bit. But is he really showing that he's got the know-how in this division to really take a side like Stoke to the Premiership?
Yeah, he's got Stoke playing Stoke football, and that doesn't mean.
I was going to say, is that hoof? And I'm not.
Yeah, that's not hoof. Tony Pulis long ball. Let's play for the percentages. Going to throw in, but more like he's got the players. They're fully committed. We've got proper wingers, which is very much a Stoke historically a Stoke thing. Play with width. And yeah, we're looking to, like I say, he's just got a lot of energy in the side, and players playing the right positions, competition. He's got a squad, the unity. It's just all the things we've been lacking for about 7, 8, 10 years. It's all he's managed in one transfer window to just bring it all put together. The guy's a magician, I'll be honest.
Wow.
And it is lovely. It is lovely to see Coventry up top, because you look at it and think he built that side. So yeah, maybe we've got that to come.
I mean, you just mentioned transfer and window and buying players. We don't know what that's like. We haven't done that since about, well, it feels like 1996. Probably it feels like Mark Robbins the last time we made a signing. It's been that long. It's funny you mentioned the Stoke way and not in terms of the hoofball, because I'm going to confess something here, and I have said this before, so I can't hide from the evidence and deny it. I have said on other shows and on this channel, and maybe on my social media somewhere, Stoke City for a long time have been the most championship team I can ever think of. You ever seen the? Do you ever seen like The Simpsons, where Homer is like, he said if there was a picture of stupid in the dictionary, it'd have your face or something like that. And it's got, I feel like if you had the definition of the word championship next to it, it'd just be Stoke's pitch next to it, because I know you had that 10-year Premier League season. We're going to talk about them as well, where you really had the height of it. You suggest, but you just feel like you've always been pretty much 90% of your life in the Championship. Is that a stigma that you're hoping you can shake this season? Or am I just really horrible?
No, I think it's strange, because I think we were one of them clubs who, because we'd established ourselves in the Premier League, and I think you guys may sort of feel a bit familiar, because you sort of been there a while, and you're not at the start of that season, you're one of the few clubs in the Premier League not thinking about the fact you might get relegated. So then when you do get relegated, it hits it a bit harder, because you're not sort of set up to cope with that, if you know what I mean. Like with your outgoings, your wage bill, etc. It's all not sort of going to fit in the Championship, no matter what you do. And I think that it took us, like I say, 7 or 8 years to sort of regroup financially from getting relegated. Even though we've got some of the richest owners in the country, because of the rules, they just can't spend the money. And they are obviously, they keep the ticket prices low, and stuff like that, because they want to make sure it's affordable. But unfortunately, without the TV money that comes in, gate receipts make up a lot of your income, don't they, at this level? And I think that's been the main problem, is that, like I say, the FFP, we've been fighting against it continually for like 7 or 8 years just to stay on the right line. Luckily, you guys brought Harry Suter off us, which stayed off a massive possible points deduction with that transfer. Yeah, that was really much needed business at the time. But yeah, like I say, perennial struggling championship team, because we just haven't had the ability to get anywhere else really. And it doesn't help that we've been probably had about 8 managers in the 8 years we've been down here, and we're probably still paying half of them.
Yeah. Well, if you know anything about our brought to light troubles, Leicester fans will tell you a lot more about it. But we haven't got 6 hours. I asked Chris, he said no. But yeah, we've done many a show talking about it. You know, we've had managerial roundabouts, we've had delays in sackings and non-existent transfers. I mean, like this season, we picked up James is on a loan. Ramsey, who could be out for a good couple of months, he's in on a loan. Begovic was a free. Our striker, so we only had 4 signings, also on a loan. So we haven't made a deal. We didn't sign. I think we signed someone last January. He doesn't exist. We sent him out on loan. Rude, in his ever wisdom, I need a right back. It's my first signing. We got him a right back, and he played him for about 20 minutes. So not only have we had incompetence in our transfer building, don't get me started on Oliver Skip, but when we've not had the ability, we've really struggled to pull in the law. And like you said, you know, you went from a very successful period in the Premiership, regardless of what people thought about your style of play, it was very successful. And to a degree, it kind of reminded me of Leicester in the early 90s. We got the tag boring Leicester, but we were, 8th, 9th, 10th. We won a few Coca-Cola and Worthington Cups in that travels. In that period before, we then fell back through the trap door. It wasn't quite 10 years, but it was in a short space of time. We built ourselves a reputation of, you might not like the football you're watching as an opposition fan, but we were quite successful. It was quite a successful period. And once somebody, a certain potato peeler, rip that foundation out from underneath them, it all ended up where we've been going for the last 20 odd years, in terms of short blotted stays in the Premier League, which again came with a success. But if people really look at it, Stoke and Leicester haven't been too dissimilar in their fortunes and misfortunes on and off the pitch. It's been would it be wrong of me to say, and feel free to say yes, but you talked about Stoke over the last few years. Obviously, you've been restricted in things you can do in terms of transfers and whatnot. And obviously, we were charitable and brought Suter off you, who's probably kicked his toe on a coffee table more than he's kicked a ball for Leicester. Would it be wrong to say that I've heard a few whispers saying that Stoke are having this one-off season where you have to make the comparisons that were made, Huddersfield struggling, suddenly propelled themselves up, went into the Premier League, not in the same bracket, but Nottingham Forest were right down at the bottom and then suddenly propelled themselves into the playoffs in the Premier League. And do you think this is something that if you don't get promotion this season, either via the playoffs or automatics, is this a case of, well, we'll just go back to that Stoke, or is there a real feeling that you can maintain that even if you don't fulfill the objective this season, which I assume your start of the season has you saying it has to be a minimum of playoffs?
Yes, right. So the start of the season, obviously, just to put it into context for everyone who doesn't know, and I don't know why you would, we got relegated in 2018, and every season since, so that's 7 in a row. This will be our 8th in the Championship. For the previous 7 seasons since we got relegated, we have finished between 14th and 18th every single year. So talk about like mundane and just sort of the only way we have looked like exiting this division is by drifting down to League One a couple of times. Obviously, last season went down to the very last day before we managed to get rid of that sort of possibility. So we weren't looking for playoffs at the start of the season. We knew we had a good manager. We have got decent. We've got a decent set of players. We knew that, but I think Stoke fans were just going to be happy with top half. Don't if someone had offered us in July and said you're going to finish 12th this season, I think 90% Stoke fans would have gone, yeah, fantastic. At least we're not down the bottom. We're not down the bottom. We are mid-table. We are improving. We're getting away from where we have been, and it's something we can build on. And even at the start of the season, we won the first 3 games. We were top of the league. We've had the best defence. We've still got the best defence, statistically anyway. And Stoke fans were still sort of going, yeah, but I still take top 10. I still think if we finish 9th, that'd be a decent return. So I don't think. I think we've probably been had too much sort of failures and sort of bad runs to commit ourselves to believing we can finish, especially the top 3 or 4. But yeah, I think top 6. A lot of people now are sort of coming around to say, yeah, I think we can get top 6. It'd be lovely to get top 6. We've got the players that can get top 6 and the manager for sure. So I think that's probably where people's aspirations are currently. Top 2 still seems a little bit of a push, but in this league, and especially this season, I think anything can happen, to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, you look at some of the starts some of the big names will have had. I mean, Sheffield United are still struggling, even though they've got Wilder back. I know they've picked up a few wins. Ipswich are starting to get there now. They're closer up there. Obviously, ourselves have had a bit of an absolute mare in parts as well. So it is a season where a team like Stoke can maybe grasp that opportunity and get a playoff place. I just want to say a quick hello to Paul, who says it's snowy in Northumberland. I just had a snow warning where I live at the moment, so it seems like it's coming early. Don't say that to your partner though. So what's there goes, can Stoke do it on a cold Saturday afternoon in Leicester? Unfortunately, I think I can. I kind of get the pessimistic there, especially when I told you we won the last game before an international break, then didn't win until Norwich, and that says it all with Norwich this season. He also said he loved Stoke because they always beat Arsenal and made Arsene Wenger Mardy, which was always nice to see. And that bloke could never do his point up anyway. So
if you want to go YouTube on that note and type in Stoke fans and Wenger, you'll see we even had our own dance and everything. It was great. He really used to rally him up.
Lovely, that's brilliant. But I mean, yeah, you talk about it as well, like top 6. So obviously you had the good start, and again, Middlesbrough and Coventry are kind of a little bit cut adrift at this moment in time. We all know that can change in this division. But right now, if you say the top 2 are locked off, a little bit like Leicester, Ipswich were a couple of seasons ago, they were kind of like, if we can catch them, brilliant, but 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th is ideal. I'm going to ask you 2 questions in one here. Would it be okay? Obviously, it wouldn't be okay to lose, but would it be okay for you as a fan to say, if we get playoffs, all right, we don't go up, but that's still a successful season? And also, would you mentioned top 12 being the realistic goal would have been nice to have as a start. If you were to drop out and miss out on the playoffs, would that still be a successful season in your eyes?
If we got in the playoffs and didn't go up, I think that will 100% be a successful season, just for the progress and the building blocks that would have been put in place and allow us to sort of, go on into the following seasons and hopefully, actually keep a manager longer than half a dozen games in Robbins. So as for if we missed out on the playoffs, I think because of the start we've made, because of how solid we look defensively, and we've played, we played Middlesbrough and absolutely annihilated them in the second half. There, we drew 0-0, but if you go back and watch the second half of that game, they were just. It was like attack versus defence training session. How we didn't score, I don't know. Obviously, Middlesbrough fans were full of sort of praise for us after that. We played Coventry in the last game before the international break, and we're only done by a last-minute overhead kick by Mason Clark from the edge of the box.
That was a goal.
Yeah. And it was like, we've come up against a team that have been putting 4 or 5 past, their goal difference is higher than any other team has scored goals in this league. That's how well they've been playing. And yeah, it wasn't an open game. It wasn't a thrilling game, but it was a good sort of chess match, if you know what I mean. And we did match up with them, and we weren't sort of overpowered at all. We gave as good as we got, and it just took that sort of bit of brilliance there to sort of win the game for them. So I think with that, having done that to the top 2 and other sides, and knowing that we have got a bit of a formula for getting results, I think it'd be disappointing not to finish in the top 6, especially with 3 relegated clubs coming down. Yourselves, like I say, not sort of hitting the ground running. You've got some troubles maybe off the field as well. Southampton have obviously had a really poor start. They're changing the manager now. We'll see how that impacts them. The only one, like I say, Ipswich, probably finding a bit of form. I imagine they'll be up there. And then you've got Sheffield United, obviously, who lost the playoff final last year. Again, had a really horrific start, haven't they? So it does throw the doors wide open, doesn't it, for a few new challenges and a few new faces around this sort of top 6. So I think that, more than anything, will be why it feels like a chance missed, if you like, if we don't finish in the top 6 this season. But yeah, I think if you look at it without that, I think if you would say 8th place, we shouldn't be disappointed, but I get a feeling that we probably will be.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So, like I said, you'd rather be in the mix and miss out than miss out on being in the mix, if you will. Having said that, you said the word disappointing, so I'm going to take you back to some very disappointing times for you. As far as a few seasons ago, last time we met was obviously in the 2023-24 season. Was it? Yes, it was. I've read so far into years, I forget what year we're in. You didn't fare too greatly against us. I know you'd had some hiccups against us in the Premier League, but 2-0 loss at the King Power, and then you, at your own ground, you lose 5-0. First of all, did you go to any of them games? And secondly, the obvious question, just how disappointing was them results? Or with where you finished that season, did you get to the game at 5-0 and kind of go, well, what did we expect? We're awful, they're top sort of thing. How was that feeling for you?
I think we were happy with a 2-0 defeat at Leicester, to be fair, that season when we were away. And yeah, I was at the home game and still bitter end. And yeah, the 5, I think we were just happy it wasn't 7 or 8, to be fair. It could have been anything that day. It was one of those strange things, I think, as well, that we actually ended the season pretty well. And it was a bit of a catalyst, as in, I think it sort of drew everyone together to be like, right, okay, we need to do something about this before we get dragged into a proper relegation battle, which actually happened 12 months later, but that's beside the point. Yeah, it was sort of a result that, like I say, sort of united, probably had a few meetings in the following few days after it, and pulled everyone together, to be fair, squad-wise anyway. And we ended the season pretty well. But yeah, that day we were totally outclassed, and you could have scored 7, 8 or 9. I think you've scored 11 goals. The last 11 goals in our games have all been scored by Leicester. So could do with ending that run soon, I think.
Well, yeah, I always say all good things come to an end. I hope that isn't the case on Saturday. But it's funny, you say we've had a lot of meetings recently and we've had the lion's share of the goals. To say that, little early, and this isn't the true or false quiz that I warned you about earlier, but this is just a little teaser quiz. I like to do this. In all competitions, Leicester and Stoke have faced each other 104 times. I've got out all my fingers and thumbs to add it all up. I didn't know, use Google. In all competitions, so not just in the league game. Little quick one for you. How many of them do you reckon Stoke City have come out victorious?
I'm going to cheat and say 33.
Oh, well, at least you're honest about cheating.
Yeah,
Your own show, did you? Yeah,
I was actually doing a bit of research for my own pod and saw this. 33 wins, 35 draws, 36 Leicester wins. I remember it. I only saw it a few hours ago.
See me notes. Let me just get rid of that. No, I mean, research is research. Well done, mate. I was surprised how close it was, and it probably shows that over the last few, that stint in the Premier League, where we drew and we didn't really lose to you that many times to knowledge when you were in the Premier League, and obviously last year as well. Coupled on top, not last year, the last season in the Championship, coupled on top of that, it feels like we've only just been able to swing that pendulum back in our favour, because we must have played each other at least 10 or more times in that period. Since I returned to the Premier League back in 2013-14, so it shows that Stoke had the upper hand on you. You weren't really a side we liked to be playing, but still don't really. I mean, 36, 35 and 33, it's not a great record. So it shows that, right now the pendulums in Leicester's side, although saying that, our form, your form, I would say that could swing back in your favour on Saturday. Speaking of that, we know him as a footballer. I mean, you still know him as a footballer, but he's your manager, of course. We know what he was capable of on the pitch. What's he capable of off the pitch? What can Leicester expect in your style of play? And that's not a camera up there. Marty Cifuentes isn't listening to you giving his inside information, I promise. The Victoria ground was a good ground in the 80s. Yeah, how does Mark Robbins, the manager, go about beating his former club?
So I would say, especially away from home, we are set up to be compact in defence. We've got people playing in positions that is natural to them, which always helps. So we'll get the back four. We'll get two sitting midfielders. I would imagine, if I was picking this team earlier on, what I think we should go with, Tatsuki Seko and Ben Pearson would be my choice as two combative midfielders who can sit in front of the defence, quite clever, show for the ball, and then we've got pacey wingers, Millie Manoff, Sorba Thomas, Olamin Cisse usually comes off the bench, Divine Mubama, big, powerful, young striker, great finisher. So the game plan really is back four and the two midfielders, sit in deep, attract the attention, if you like, let you come on to us, and then we'll win the ball there. And then as soon as that's play, get quickly out to the wingers or to the number 10, who that's Bejourno or Lewis Baker. And then, get into the front three from wide areas. Sorba Thomas takes everything, corners, free kicks, throw-ins. He's loving life at the minute since he's joined us. So he's been sort of instrumental. And it's really picked up his game. The wingers are the keys, I think, to us creating chances. When you've got to, that's sort of when you're coming forward, we'll sort of sit to do that. The other end of the field, if you try and play out, we will press and press high. We've created quite a few chances this season from sort of stealing the ball off centre halves and fullbacks, from, like I say, the four forwards, if you like, with the number 10, really, like say, full of energy, full of, all over people. And so if you aren't confident on the ball, or you've got a mistake maybe in your back line trying to play out, it might be wise to just go long.
Yeah, well, people would argue we do have a mistake in our back line, and we are susceptible to passing the ball and giving it away early. Some would call that mistake wout phase, but I actually don't mind wout phase as a genuine human being, I guess. But yeah, most people tend to want to throw the blame at him. But sometimes it is Harry Winks' his soul short of a pass or a hefty pass into him. Norwich actually scored from that. So one of the worst teams in this division could do it. I'm sure high-flying Stoke will do it. I will pose this question to you then before I was going to ask you this one first, but I'll ask you this one. You say that Stoke like to sit deep and sit back. Leicester have the same sort of habit of you of trying to drag oppositions out into their half. If from what you're telling me, the plan of action is we'll wait here all day, you come at us, then we'll spring the counter and get in behind you as often as we can. You look at the Leicester squad, and I know we've had individuals not in the greatest of forms, but when they've been on their day, that they can be really, a class above the left, above most. Do you worry that Leicester possess that potential firepower and talent that could cause you a lot of trouble? Because we have Fatawu, we have Mavididi, we have Jeremy Monga, we have Jordan James, who's on fire at the moment for us, a club and country at the moment in terms of assists and getting goals. We have that firepower on the width through the middle. And when it has clicked for Leicester, 5 quick silky passes cuts a team to ribbons and we're in behind. Do you mention... No, Paul, I know. If I mentioned strikers, it'd be no firepower. But in terms of potential ability when they get going, and we have seen some nice moments from this team and some lovely goals, does that worry you that it could backfire, or is it something you've heard and seen 4 or 5 times a season and your guys have coped with it fairly comfortable?
Yeah, to be fair, defensively we've been really sound, and we've had problems as well. Like we've had the right backs, Junior Shamad, who's missed games with suspension. Obviously Aaron Cresswell, in his sort of aging years, has had to have his minutes managed, and Eric Bocat's had to come in. Boston Lawal was outstanding for the first phase of the season, then did a hamstring, and Ashley Phillips, who again is unbelievable defender. For us to get him for a second year on loan was amazing. But yeah, so we've had to sort of rotate things around there. Like I say, we've got sort of 6 players vying for the 2 midfield slots in front, so that's been rotating. But everyone seems to know the jobs, and we've been really good, really solid defensively against all different types of teams. I mean, we've conceded, it's 10 in 15 games. One of them was an uncharacteristic sort of victory on error, and like I say, 3 more from sort of corners. So we've not, in open play in that, we've not really been sort of, opened up that often at all. And obviously Victor, if the defence do think that Victor is a great last line to have, obviously the ex-Leicester player himself, isn't he? But he's an outstanding goalkeeper, and I know a lot of clubs lay claim to having the best keeper in the league, but I genuinely feel that we do have that at Stoke. With what we would have been relegated last season if it wasn't for him easily, and even this season he's pulled. He's not been anywhere near as busy as he was last year, but when he's called upon, he's outstanding. His reflexes, his shot stopping is unbelievable. I do understand, people say Premier League and that, and I do understand why he maybe hasn't made that, because he's not fantastic with his feet or whatever, but as a shot stopper at this level, and for me that should always be the number one thing for a keeper. He is unbelievable.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm part of the goalkeepers union. I always say you can look at Hamadson, our former keeper, our number 1 last season, who's gone to West Ham. He was our keeper for 2 years, and you kind of had that thing going, he's a great shot stopper, he seems really good, it's the bad defence in front of him that's slowing him down. Well, he's still having that problem at West Ham, it seems. But there was games, and this is why I contrast the difference actually between Hamadson and Jakob. There is a point to my rambling, trust me, there always is. Might take me 10 minutes, but I'll get there. Is we'd have games where the defence would be resolute, we'd get a one-on-one, and it just seemed like he was switched off. He wouldn't react to it as well. And I think sometimes Jakob's got his flaws. He doesn't always get the strongest hand parrying stuff out. He doesn't always parry it directly to danger. He's more susceptible to parry it back into danger than he is away from it. And that is something that, I'm sure Paul and others would say in the chat that, he has his flaws. But it's the doesn't have much to do springing into life that really does it for him. So I'm with you on the goalkeeper front. I think just because he's not doing as much doesn't mean he's not as good a goalkeeper as he is. He's just proving that when he needs to be, he's been switched on and sharp. Obviously, normally a goalkeeper you wouldn't say is a worrying player for opposition fans to come about. You know what they're all about. They are the same ticket. You know what to expect. They go, the keeper worries me because he might save everything. Well, of course, that's his job. Is there a player in that Leicester side? You've researched our head-to-head record, so I feel like you know a bit about our squad in terms of play. Is there anybody in our squad that has you going, if he's picked and he's on his game, that's where Leicester could cause us real big problems? Because you're not going to say a striker or rule that out. I know that for a fact. We've got one goal between 7 strikers. So
this is a worry because we have a very good reputation of giving these a bit of a charity case. If a striker needs a goal, it's like, oh, go on, then we'll get you up and running.
Oh, if that's the case, then play Patson because the bloke hasn't scored in nearly.
You should get 2 of them up front on Saturday. You'll be 2 up after 10 minutes. You'll be loving life. In all seriousness, Fatawu, I think is the one that's. I know you mentioned James. You mentioned obviously Monga and stuff. You've got some quality players there, some great players with flair in there, and who can open teams up. But I think Fatawu is that star power from what I've seen of him, who on his day, like I say, he might be, but he's one of those players, isn't he, that's frustrating some games to watch. But then others, he can win the game. Like I say, if he's on it, he's, like I say, too good, shall we say, for this level. But maybe the fact he's not on it enough for you guys is why he's still at this level and not been picked up with other players maybe in the summer. But I suppose, is it the one thing, obviously, is I've been told Chris was telling us when he came on our pod that if he cuts, his main trick obviously is to cut in and have a shot, which I imagine it sounds very much like a million man at Stoke. So at least Aaron Cresswell will have been able to get plenty of training in for that for that thing. He would just go head to head with Million, because that is his same thing. Drop the shoulder, get on the left foot, and get a shot away.
Yeah. I mean, that is a danger, man. I always say it's easy with someone of Abdul's ability, and he has blown hot and cold this season, but he did spend over 9 months sat at home because of he tore his ACL, so he didn't even get a chance to shine, which benefited us because we still obviously have him now. And if by some miracle we were to go up, we would be able to command a bit of a hefty fee for him, because you imagine if he gets going, he is a player that's hard to stop. And I always find that a really good player, or a really good not world class, actually, I'll stick with a really good player, is sometimes to do something so simple like just cutting in. And it's so easy to say, oh, well, stop him cutting in. It's a lot harder to stop a player like that, because you see the goals he scores. You give him an inch and he thinks he's got a mile. He does frustrate us with that, and he kind of gives off the early Mahrez years. Frustration is he'll score 1 in 8, but the other 7 will be going in. Well, they'll give the Tigers 3 points for converting it over the post. It's that wide and not at all handsome. But I do see it as a threat. I'm going to be honest. I'm not one that goes deep diving into opposition fans. I'll see how well you guys are doing when we're going to play you. Sometimes I know some players, but I don't really know anybody. As a non-Stoke fan, who should Leicester be worried about? Who's that one person that you're looking at your team and going, please have a bad game or be injured, because if he's playing, he's going to cause us havoc. Is there one nailed on person that you could say stands head and shoulders above the rest?
Well, the beauty of this is that it's been very much a team effort this season. Like I mentioned that Boston Lowell, who we signed 18 months ago with a broken back, and he didn't make his first start until the final day of last season when we played him out of position at right wing back. So we missed sort of the entirety of last season, and then he started this one. We could see why we signed him, knowing he had this long-term injury, because he was unbelievable. He's potentially back. They said that basically the whole squad is fit for this game, which means that him and Sam Gallagher will finally be returning. I don't know whether he gets in though, because of the way that Ashley Phillips, like I say, has stepped in. So Boston Lowell, even at centre back, was one of those big raking crossfield passes. He can dart into midfield. He can smash his way through a few people and start attacks from the back. And just like I say, just so quick and everything strong. But I think you've got to be looking at probably the front three. So it's sort of take your pick, to be fair. Mubama's got 8 in 10 now for club and country, after netting sort of 3 goals for the England under-21s over the past week. Big, strong, powerful forward. He'll sort of run the lines. He'll be offside about half a dozen times on Saturday, I can guarantee it. But I can't quite work out whether he's not timing his runs or whether we're just holding onto the ball a bit too long before we try and play him in.
I'm sure he, as a person, will say they're holding onto the ball too long.
Yeah. So yeah, there is that, and then like I mentioned earlier on, Sorba Thomas. Like I say, he's got everything. He's been electric since we've signed him. He's scoring. I think he's scored about 4 goals, about 4 or 5 assists. He's taking corners, free kicks, long throws. Absolutely loving life. At Stoke, like I say, on that left wing, taking people on, running, being direct, and the influence he's had is Millie Manoff is up to the game, and he now looks back to his best. And he's now taking people on around the outside. I mentioned earlier on that his favourite thing was cut inside, and that was his only thing for about 18 months. But this season he's going around the other side now as well, getting to the byline, putting balls in. It's like a new player. So yeah, there isn't really one. You can depend on what your preference is and what you like to see. For example, obviously you don't want to see any of them playing well as a Leicester fan, but whatever change you want as a football fan, if you like, whatever sort of gets you going. Yeah. We've got a few different types, but yeah, any of the front three, I'd say.
Well, what I will say is, and I don't particularly like to call a player out, but this is like the worst kept secret. If your right winger or your right forward is got any sort of brain cells and has any form of pace, and we're forced to pick Luke Thomas on the left back role, I'd advise going down there. Although against Norwich, he swapped the system to a back 3, so we might not be even playing with them. We might have Mavididi and Fata with more as left and right, old traditional left and right midfielders. So we might solve our own issue. But if we go with Luke Thomas, let's just say I don't think he's having the greatest of seasons as left back. So maybe it's your right option. I'm crapping my pants about. And this is where you tell me, isn't it? Please.
Millie Manoff as if you want to go watch the Birmingham highlights, Stoke Birmingham, he absolutely tore their fullback apart, who I think was in tears by the end of the game. He didn't know what day it was. If he gets an early sort of sniff that he's got the beating of someone, it can be a long afternoon for the fullback, I'll be honest. He's one of the players you can sort of keep him quiet if he's not having any joy. But yeah, if he gets it in his head that he's got the beating of, he'll just keep going time and time again, knocking a run and all that. Yeah, he'll be gone.
Just what I love to hear. Right, shall we have some fun? As we rolled
Yes.
into the last quarter of the show. It is, and I pre-warned you about this beforehand. It is the segment's back, guys. I know it's international break. You may have forgotten, but we do at the end of this true or false, or as I've aptly named it for this one, Potters or Pothead. Take that at your discretion, if you will. Dan, it's 5 relatively easy-ish questions. There is some red herrings, some more difficult ones. I tried to be a bit nice because we've got about 6 years, it feels like, since we last all played football, thanks to England and Wales and all that with their international breaks. But are you ready for, and don't worry, you just say true or false. Don't have to say Potters or Pothead.
I'll say Potters or Pothead. Yeah, I can go with that.
Are you ready for Potters or Potheads?
Yes.
Yes, we need an intro. Come on, work it. Come on, you've got one job. It's your channel. Give me an intro. Feed me something. Come on. Okay, question 1. A City of Ramblers. Stoke's first ever recorded match, was known as Stoke Ramblers FC.
Potters.
He's saying it's true. I'll do that part for it, just to verify for those that are maybe thinking he's just shouting Potters. What is that his answer? That means true. He's saying true, and I'm just going to go back onto the comments there. Paul says it is false. Well, I can tell you that in the last few weeks, a lot of people are getting the first question wrong. You are not one of them. That is correct. You started off as Stoke Ramblers FC, and this doesn't affect any further questions. You became Stoke and then Stoke City, if my source is correct.
Yes.
Yes,
1925 we came to Stoke City.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I had to make sure that I worded it that it was your first recorded game, because obviously you were founded before you actually played for a few years before it was fun. So fun fact, guys. That's why.
Can I tell you how I know that, by the way? Because in 2011, I got a group of Stoke fans together. We made a Stoke fans team, joined the IFA, which was the Internet Fans Association, and played as Stoke Ramblers because that was the first name of the club. That was the name of our team.
Well, there you go. The more you know. Well, you're off the mark, and without useful information has stood well into the thing. You might notice a theme with how I word these questions to you. The clue is in the name. Stoke's nickname, the Potters, is because their ground used to have potted plants on it.
Pothead.
He's saying it's false. I thought that one just got a laugh from me because I thought I had to use it. You are correct. And this pen doesn't want to work. What's going on here? Oh, of course, everything breaks on me, doesn't it? This is the day I've been having. There you go. It is false. You were obviously given the name Potters, but not because of potted plants. It's because of the pottery industry, isn't it? It is correct. Yeah, thanks.
Yes.
My source is Wikipedia, so I trust them about as far as I can throw them. And it's about as far as I can throw them, asking for £2.88 every time you click on them. Something will happen. Okay.
You'll always know somebody from Stoke-on-Trent if they pick a plate up and turn it upside down to see where it was made.
I like that. Then this one, I do like to put a fun one in because normally I put some painful ones in that remind you of bad memories. But this one's a nice fun one with you. I'm expecting you to get this right. Failure equals reward. Despite losing the 2011 FA Cup final to Manchester City, Stoke still qualified for the Europa League.
Potters.
Yep, that is true. And what was the reason behind that? Just in case everyone's going, how did that work? Because there is a way you can lose in the final.
Yeah, back then. Yeah, so back then, if the team that won the FA Cup were Champions League qualified through the league, then the runners-up got the spot in the Europa League. So I think they changed it now, and I think it's only you have to win the cup. But yeah, the FA Cup runners-up, used to get. So we had a lovely European tour, which I enjoyed.
I'm sure we enjoyed some of ours as well. Paul has redeemed himself since the first one, and he has got the last two questions right with you. Good news is you're currently joint bottom, which puts you third. So how do you want to look at it? If you get these next two right, you'll be joint first. So let's see if you can make it 4 out of 4. A foot in both camps. Jerry Taggart, I can see you lighting up because you know it's both camps. Well, I'm not making that easy for you. Jerry Taggart played for both clubs and was sent off for Leicester when he played against Stoke.
Ooh. I'm going to say Pothead. I don't remember that. I don't remember that happening, so I'm going to say Pothead.
You're going to say Pothead. Jerry Taggart got 2 red cards in his Premier League career. Believe it or not, despite being a hothead Irishman. And one of them was against Stoke.
Oh.
So you are not on 400%. Yes, he got sent off, and then 5 minutes later, one of your players got sent off. Or maybe at the same instant, he also got sent off. Both teams ended that game with 10 men, and the game ended as a draw. So, yes, I led you on because you saw you heard Jerry Taggart, you thought, hey, nice and easy, I know this one. But
yeah,
yes.
I just remember him throttling Dennis Wise when we played Millwall once. Literally had his hand round his throat, and the legend that was Uriah Rennie was just like, yeah, come on, crack on, off you go. Go on, take no action here. Come on.
Yeah, to be fair, anything involving strangling Dennis Wise, we're all for as well. We don't talk about him. He's like a slur on the Leicester world. Yeah, it was true. Yeah, I ironically, I was saying to Chris, and I won't say anything, but I was watching, and because I have an obsession with my ADHD and autism. I have an obsession with watching season reviews. From knee eye to a grasshopper. My granddad had the VHS tapes of the 93, 94, the 96, 97, 97, all up to about 2000. And I used to watch them religiously. And I just remember that game for some reason. I just remember it stuck in there. He got sent off. And I actually couldn't remember. I actually tried to research it. I then wondered, had he been sent off for Stoke playing against Leicester? And I was going to use that, but that wasn't the case. He'd had 2 red cards in the Premier League, and both of them were for us against you. I believe one of them against you. Okay, nice fun one to end it. You can't get a full house, but you can come second on the leaderboard. The good news being you'll come second. The bad news is you'll be joint second with about 3 others. This one I just had to include because it made me laugh. Hungry hippos. Stoke have 2 hippos for their mascots.
Potters. We do. Pottermus and Pottermiss.
What did they miss? I'm sorry. I'm not, but I am. You are indeed correct. You've finished 4 out of 5. You have 2 mascots called hippos, and I only have one question to ask you, Dan. Why?
Because they're hippopotamus.
But Bill and Ben, the flower pop men, could you not have thrown that in? Could you not have had like Steve and Bob, the flower pops, or whatever? Yeah. Could you not have thought to keep it around pottery of some kind and not just randomly go, Potamus sounds like Potters. We once had Top Styles as a mascot, so I can't really say anything. But yeah, 2 hippos walked into Stoke. Sounds like a joke or a bad Saturday night.
To be fair, they came with the stadium. I don't know if they must have already been there.
We've got this stand and 2 hippos. Hey, you get these for free. You buy a stadium, you get a hippo free.
I remember initially we only had 1, and then it was only about 3 or 4 years after we had the 1 that all of a sudden they just sort of made this little sketch, and out came his girlfriend, and it was like, okay, what's good? We now have 2. What do we have? Baby hippos this time next year? What's good? But
Yeah, well,
they've yet to procreate yet. We're still on the 2.
well, at least you know the hippos can never go in danger as long as Stoke City's around. That's good to know. Funny enough, actually, go back to that idea. We actually had a segment where we used to have 3 mascots. We used to have Vicky Vixen, which I can't remember if that was his sister or his girlfriend. I think it was his sister. I don't know. But he also had like a cousin Dennis. And for some reason, obviously, normally all their mascots are the same height. Well, they really insinuated that cousin Dennis was really young because he was about a good 1.5 foot smaller than and I can confirm that their costumes still live on in Leicester. They just haven't been out of retirement since. But yeah, it's weird how we try and make things like that into families. But yeah, well done, mate. You got 4 out of 5. Bad news is you're not first. Good news is you're not last.
I'll take that.
I'm glad that one of them tripped you up. I do like to have one that tripped you up. I if he doesn't remember that, he might not know that Taggart got sent off. So
I definitely remember Jerry Taggart. Special place in my early 2000s heart playing for Stoke there. But yeah, I don't remember him getting sent off against us. So yes, I've learned something new.
Yeah, I tell you what, the connection he had at both clubs. I'm sure he's done some stuff for Stoke in the past and probably still does every so often. But I was very surprised to see he's become a mainstay of our media team. You know, doing match days in the studio. I was really surprised because obviously, you know, you forget it was only a short stay he had with us. You know, you think of people like that, you normally think of a longevity like for a Steve Walsh who was 14 years at the club and was forced out of the club by a certain spud peeler. But, you know, to think he obviously had that much love and affection for both clubs, but obviously for us, for that thing to do it, it was quite good. But yeah, I had to include him because I knew it'd get a smile out of you. That did used to be a genuine thought in both camps question where I'd ask you if they played for both. But I noticed that I'd have to go so obscure with a player that, you know, I couldn't say Jerry Taggart because you go, well, yeah, I know that one. I'd have to say someone like, I think we may have had someone who...
I'd yak him by.
Yeah, someone like that, maybe. You know. But we try and forget that he played for us. But, you know, people go, well, it's so obscure, I guess it's true. And it's like, oh, yeah, I guess you would think that. So I tried something different and it worked. So there you go. You were the unfortunate recipient of that. Ronald asked a question saying, what are the names of all the towns that make up the city of Stoke?
Longton, which was where I was born and brought up. Fenton, Stoke, just Stoke itself. Tunstall, Burslem, which is where you'll find the other side of Stoke-on-Trent. Yeah, so those are the...
Yeah. There you go. A question asked and answered, Ronald. There you go, mate. Dan, before I let you...
Sorry, I've completely forgot. I didn't mention Hanley, which is sort of the shopping centre and thingy of Stoke as well. So yes, so apologies.
No, don't you ever apologise. There you go, Ronald. Your question fully answered in the fullest detail. Before I let you go, and before I let you give your channel, your podcast channel a shout out, one last question for you. I've got predictions. Saturday. I said earlier I was stupidly optimistic, and the last time I was stupidly optimistic, I said Blackburn would beat Blackburn, and we went on to loss. And I'm going to make Leicester fans put their heads in their hands again because I'm stupidly optimistic. I've gone 3-1 Leicester. What's your prediction for the game on Saturday?
I think if I'm going to be true to myself, I'm going to have to stick with what I said on our podcast, which is a 2-1 Stoke win. But I think if you look at that, I think that head-to-head record that we see earlier on, was it 33-36, 35 draws?
Oh, no, don't asking me. You cheated. You knew these answers.
So that is like championship, and that is the championship all over, isn't it? Where literally it could be any result, and I think this game is one of them as well. If you are on top form, if your top players are at their best, we are in for a tough afternoon. We are if we're at our best, we are capable of winning that game. But I think we need to be disciplined and we need to be respectful of the threats that you get if we are going to do it. So yeah, I think we're more than capable of winning, but so are yourselves. All in all, it should be, and this is what we're enjoying about this season. It should be an enjoyable football match, regardless.
Oh, let's hope so, Dan. Dan, you've been brilliant. Just quickly, because obviously you've done a preview with Christopher. He's been on your side of things. So where can people find that particular thing and go and tell Chris how wrong his opinion is? What's your channel called? Let everybody know.
So we are every step along the way. You'll find us on Spotify, iTunes, any sort of podcast provider. We're sort of pretty much on all of them. And if you wanted to find us on social media, we are mainly on X/Twitter or whatever you want to call it. We do have a Facebook group that's closed though, and also we are on Instagram. But yeah, the main place you'll find us social media wise is your Elon Musk's favorite place.
So like that. Yeah, so go and check it out, guys. Obviously, we're a loving football community over here, so go and show him support. Cheers to Paul, who's been with us throughout showing the chat, and the others that have popped in and out throughout. Cheers, Dan, for coming on. And I'm not going to lie, I hope you lose on Saturday, but after that, I will wish you all the best. And I know I'm going to say this to about another 17 teams this season, but if we end up meeting you in the playoffs, that would be lovely. I can't see it with our season, with our impending thing, but if we do manage to pull off the miraculous and join you in that top six, good to see you in the final at Wembley for that playoff final.
I would take that right now.
So would I, funny enough, being he expected 6 points. Dan, all the best after Saturday, and thanks for doing this show really late. I'm going to let you go so you can go and have 5 minutes to yourself before the kids probably no doubt go, Dad, what are you doing?
Yes, I think they must be asleep now because I haven't heard anything off them for a while. So yeah, they must actually finally be in bed.
Oh, that's good.
I'd put them there and then they just reappeared like,
that's surprise, we were waiting for you. Take care, Dan. Thanks for
yes, been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure, mate. Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure having you on, mate. Take care, buddy.
Cheers.
That was Dan, everybody. A great guest, wasn't he? Absolutely fantastic. It's always good when the guest is able to give as good as they get when it comes to banter. It was great having him on. And with that, my return is a full circle. I am back on your screens. And we are back with proper football. This has been the preview show. But if you're sitting here going, you're new to the channel and you're sitting here and you're going, oh, this has actually been a good show. I enjoy this. I'm a Leicester fan or maybe you just like to see Leicester suffer in pain. You've enjoyed the show. Go and click the subscribe button. Go and do it now. I was going to hit the outro button, but I'll give you a minute. Hit the subscribe button. Click the little bell. Set it to all because it's on personalised right now. Check. See? Told you. Listen to me, I know. You click subscribe, you check the bell, you checked it on all, you know what to do. Great. Now you won't miss Chris making a press of himself on the watch along. That is coming up on Saturday. The watch along will start about 2:00. 2:00 on Saturday. Let's hope Leicester can actually have a decent return after the international break. And let's hope for 3 more points for the Foxes. If I don't see you then, I'll see you in a while. And as always, come on, you Foxes. Good night, all.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.